On January 26, 2025, the world learned about the imminent release of secret files related to some of the most significant assassinations in American history, those of President John F. Kennedy JFK, civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. MLK, and Senator Robert F. Kennedy RFK. This move follows a long-standing commitment by former President Donald Trump to enhance transparency regarding these pivotal events that shaped the 1960s and beyond. The anticipation surrounding these documents has sparked intense speculation about what new information they might reveal about these tragedies and the potential conspiracies surrounding them. Background of the assassinations. 1. John F. Kennedy JFK. JFK was assassinated on November 22, 1963 in Dallas, Texas while riding in a motorcade. The Warren Commission concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone. But skepticism about this finding has persisted for decades. Public opinion polls consistently show that a majority of Americans believe in various conspiracy theories regarding JFK's death. 2. Martin Luther King Jr. MLK. MLK was assassinated on April 4, 1968. James Earl Ray was convicted of the crime but later recanted his confession, leading to ongoing debates about possible conspiracies behind King's assassination. The House Select Committee on Assassinations suggested there was likely a conspiracy, though it did not identify specific accomplices. 3. Robert F. Kennedy RFK. RFK was assassinated on June 5, 1968 by Sirhan Sirhan. While Sirhan was convicted, there have been allegations of other possible conspirators, including suggestions of involvement from RFK's security detail. The announcement of file release. The announcement by Trump in January 2025 initiated a process for the full release of files related to these assassinations. The Director of National Intelligence and the Attorney General were given a timeline to prepare these documents for public disclosure. While the release of these files is seen as an opportunity to shed light on the government's actions and potential conspiracies, experts caution that the documents may not provide the definitive answers many are seeking. Tom Samoluk, a board member of the John F. Kennedy Library Foundation, noted that while the files may add context and fill in some gaps in the historical narrative, they are unlikely to serve as a smoking gun that resolves long-standing questions about these events. Public expectations and expert opinions. The public's expectations surrounding the release of these files are high, particularly given the decades of conspiracy theories that have emerged since these assassinations. However, experts like journalist Gerald Posner, who has extensively researched the JFK assassination, are skeptical about the revelations. Posner believes that the final documents may not change the prevailing theories or provide new conclusive evidence, but could instead highlight the government's past failures in addressing potential threats. In the case of RFK, most records related to his assassination have already been released, raising questions about what new information could possibly emerge from the remaining undisclosed files. Tim Tate, a British author and investigator, pointed out that the only significant agency yet to release documents is the CIA, which may hold crucial information regarding its possible animosity towards RFK. Furthermore, MLK's family has expressed a desire to review the documents before their public release, citing personal grief and a wish to uphold a previous agreement with the government regarding the classification of these files. Historical context and government investigations. The assassinations of JFK, MLK, and RFK occurred during a tumultuous period in American history marked by civil rights movements, political upheaval, and widespread distrust in government institutions. The Warren Commission was established to investigate JFK's assassination, but subsequent investigations, including the House Select Committee on Assassinations, hinted at probable conspiracies without identifying specific individuals involved. The public's enduring skepticism about the official narratives surrounding these murders has been fueled by the lack of closure and perceived inadequacies of the investigations. The forthcoming release of files may not resolve these mysteries, but could contribute additional pieces to the complex puzzle of the 1960s. Conclusion. As the release date for these secret files approaches, the anticipation continues to build. Families of the victims, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike are eagerly awaiting what new information might surface. Whether these documents will provide clarity or simply add to the existing layers of mystery remains to be seen. Regardless of the outcome, the release of these files represents a significant moment in the ongoing quest for truth surrounding the tragic events that shaped the American landscape in the 1960s. The upcoming release of files related to the assassinations of JFK and MLK and RFK is steeped in intrigue and anticipation, yet it also reveals counterintuitive insights about public perceptions and historical narratives surrounding these iconic figures. 1. Public skepticism versus official narratives. While official investigations like the Warren Commission concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in JFK's assassination, public belief in conspiracy theories has remained robust. Over half of Americans have consistently doubted the lone gunman narrative. This persistence suggests a fundamental distrust in government explanations, which contradicts the expectation that official reports would suffice to quell public curiosity. 2. Expectation of clarity from declassification. The declassification of documents is anticipated to provide clarity regarding the assassinations. However, experts like Tom Samoluk warned that the files may not deliver definitive answers or smoking guns. Instead, they are likely to offer additional context that may not resolve existing uncertainties. This expectation contrasts with the public's desire for clear-cut revelations, highlighting a gap between hope and reality. 3. Conspiracy theories flourishing despite evidence. A House Select Committee on Assassinations suggested probable conspiracies in both JFK's and MLK's deaths, yet this has not diminished the prevalence of conspiracy theories. The paradox here is that rather than leading to a more unified understanding of these events, the acknowledgement of potential conspiracies has only fueled further speculation, suggesting that human cognition often favors narrative complexity over straightforward explanations. For destruction of evidence, the acknowledgement that the Los Angeles Police Department destroyed evidence related to RFK's assassination raises questions about accountability and trust in law enforcement agencies. This destruction contradicts the expectation that governmental bodies protect public interests and preserve historical evidence, further feeding conspiracy theories and skepticism about official narratives. 5. Complex legacy of MLK. The legacy of Martin Luther King Jr. is complicated by revelations of FBI surveillance and attempts to discredit him, authorized even by figures like RFK. This adds layers to the narrative of King as a civil rights icon, revealing a system that actively sought to undermine him while simultaneously recognizing his importance. The juxtaposition of his celebrated public persona against the backdrop of government surveillance paints a stark picture of the era's political climate. 6. Family perspectives on disclosure. The desire of MLK's family to review documents before their public release highlights the personal impact of these historic events. It challenges the notion that these documents are purely historical artifacts, showing that they are also deeply intertwined with ongoing grief and the quest for truth. This personal stake contrasts sharply with broader public interest, revealing a tension between private mourning and public inquiry. 7. Redaction and limited disclosure. The release of files has often been accompanied by redactions, which many believe limits the potential for full transparency. This reality highlights a counterintuitive aspect of governmental transparency initiatives. The more one seeks to unveil the truth, the more complex and obscured it may become as the public grapples with the reality of incomplete information. 8. Role of public figures in conspiracy theories. Statements from public figures such as RFK Jr.'s doubts about his father's assassination being solely the work of Sirhan Sirhan illustrate how even prominent individuals can perpetuate uncertainty. This phenomenon reveals a broader cultural narrative where personal beliefs influence public discourse, blurring the lines between fact, speculation, and narrative. 9. The impact of historical legacy on current events. The ongoing discussions surrounding these assassinations reflect a historical legacy that continues to shape contemporary political and social dynamics. The interplay between past events and current governance demonstrates how historical narratives can influence current policy decisions and public sentiment, revealing the cyclical nature of political discourse. 10. Anticipated versus actual outcomes of document release. As the release date approaches, there exists a palpable tension between what the public hopes to discover and what the actual documents may reveal. This discrepancy underscores a broader theme in historical inquiry where the quest for truth is often fraught with expectation and disappointment, further complicating the public's relationship with historical narratives. In summary, the anticipated release of these files encapsulates a complex interplay of public expectations, historical narratives, and personal experiences that reveals deeper truths about the nature of conspiracy theories, government transparency, and the enduring impact of these pivotal assassinations on American society. The impending release of classified files related to the assassinations of JFK, MLK, and RFK has reignited public interest and speculation about these historical events. While many anticipate that these documents may provide clarity or closure, several critical aspects are likely to be overlooked in the discussions surrounding their significance. 1. The historical context of conspiracy theories. One important aspect that may be overlooked is the historical context in which these conspiracy theories emerged and flourished. The assassinations of three prominent leaders in a short span created a fertile ground for public distrust in government institutions. The 1960s were rife with social and political upheaval, including civil rights movements, anti-war protests, and growing skepticism towards the federal government due to events like the Vietnam War and Watergate scandal. This distrust was compounded by the perceived inadequacies of the official investigations into these assassinations, particularly the Warren Commission's findings on JFK's death. The fact that conspiracy theories have persisted over decades reflects not just a fascination with the events themselves but also a broader societal yearning for accountability and transparency from government entities. Understanding this socio-political backdrop is crucial because it illustrates why the release of these files is not merely a historical exercise but a step toward addressing a long-standing public grievance about transparency and trust in government. 2. The role of media and public sentiment. Another significant yet often overlooked aspect is the role of media in shaping public perception and sentiment regarding these assassinations. The media's portrayal of the assassinations, the subsequent investigations, and the narratives surrounding them have had a profound impact on public belief systems. For instance, sensationalized reporting and dramatizations in film and literature have perpetuated the notion of conspiracy influencing public opinion and contributing to a persistent skepticism about official narratives. The media's framing of these events has not only affected how they are remembered but also how new information is received. As new files are released, the way they are reported and interpreted by the media will play a critical role in shaping public understanding. This highlights the importance of critical media literacy among the public when consuming information about these historical events, especially in an era characterized by misinformation and differing narratives. 3. The family's perspectives and personal loss. The personal dimensions of these tragedies are often overshadowed by the grand narratives of conspiracy and political intrigue. The families of the victims have had to endure not only the loss of their loved ones but also the public scrutiny and speculation surrounding their deaths. For example, Martin Luther King Jr.'s family has expressed a desire to review the documents before their public release, underscoring the profound personal impact of these events. This aspect is significant because it humanizes the historical narrative, reminding us that behind the political implications and conspiracy theories are real people who experience deep and lasting grief. Acknowledging the family's perspectives can also lead to a more compassionate understanding of the events and the ongoing struggles they face in seeking justice and clarity. 4. The limitations of declassification. While the release of these files is a step towards transparency, it is essential to recognize the inherent limitations of declassification. Experts, including those who have previously reviewed similar documents, suggest that the new files may not provide a smoking gun that resolves lingering doubts about the assassinations. Instead, they may offer additional context without definitively answering the questions that have haunted these events for decades. This is significant because it sets expectations for what the public might learn from the documents. The anticipation for a revelatory moment may lead to disappointment or further skepticism if the released files do not meet these expectations. It highlights the ongoing need for critical engagement with historical narratives and an understanding that some questions may remain unanswered despite increased access to information. 5. The potential for new connections and insights. One of the more understated but potentially significant outcomes of the document release is the opportunity for new connections and insights to be drawn from previously classified information. As experts review the files, they may uncover new relationships between the assassinations, the individuals involved, and the broader socio-political climate of the time. For instance, documents pertaining to the CIA's surveillance of Lee Harvey Oswald may reveal connections to other aspects of the Cold War era which could deepen our understanding of the motivations behind his actions and the context in which JFK was assassinated. Similarly, information about the FBI's investigations into Martin Luther King Jr. could shed light on the government's attitudes toward civil rights activists and the potential implications for his assassination. This potential for new insights emphasizes the importance of interdisciplinary approaches to history, where scholars from various fields such as political science, sociology, and media studies collaborate to create a more nuanced understanding of these pivotal events. Conclusion. The release of the final secret files on the assassinations of JFK, MLK, and RFK is a momentous occasion that holds the potential for both revelation and reflection. However, to fully appreciate its significance, it is crucial to consider the historical context of conspiracy theories, the role of media, the personal dimensions of loss, the limitations of declassification, and the potential for new insights. By addressing these aspects, we can engage more thoughtfully with the documents and the narratives they may illuminate, fostering a deeper understanding of the complexities surrounding these tragic events and their lasting impact on American society. 1. Historical impact and public skepticism. The assassinations of JFK, MLK, and RFK not only marked a tumultuous period in American history but also fostered widespread public skepticism towards official narratives. Despite the Warren Commission's conclusion that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone in JFK's assassination, over half of Americans have consistently believed in a conspiracy. This skepticism extends to MLK and RFK, whose deaths also sparked theories of broader conspiracies. The upcoming release of classified files may provide additional context but is unlikely to dispel the deeply entrenched beliefs surrounding these events. 2. Government transparency and accountability. The decision to release these files stems from a broader push for transparency in government as articulated by President Trump's executive order. This initiative reflects a societal demand for accountability regarding historical injustices and government actions. However, experts warn that while the declassification process may uncover new information, it is unlikely to yield a definitive smoking gun. Instead, it may serve to further complicate the narrative, emphasizing the need for critical analysis of the documents released. 3. Conspiracy theories and investigative findings. The release of the files is expected to shed light on the findings of various investigations, including the House Select Committee on Assassinations. This committee concluded in 1979 that there was probable conspiracy in the assassinations but did not identify specific culprits. The interplay between the findings of governmental investigations and the perpetuation of conspiracy theories highlights a significant gap in public trust. This dynamic is crucial for understanding contemporary attitudes toward government transparency and the persistent allure of conspiratorial explanations. 4. Familial and personal dimensions. The families of the victims, particularly MLK's family, have expressed a desire to review the documents before public release, highlighting the personal dimensions intertwined with historical inquiry. This reflects a broader theme of how personal loss and grief can influence perspectives on historical events. The emotional weight carried by the families adds complexity to the narrative, as their insights may challenge or complement the official accounts. Their involvement underscores the importance of considering human stories behind historical facts, as well as the moral implications of declassifying sensitive materials tied to tragic events. 1. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand 1914. The assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria on June 28, 1914 in Sarajevo by Gavrilo Princip set off a chain of events that led to World War I. This event is often seen as a pivotal moment in history, with many conspiracy theories surrounding the involvement of various nationalist groups and the political climate in Europe at the time. The complexities of the assassination and its aftermath highlight how a single event can have monumental global consequences. 2. The murder of Julius Caesar 44 BC. Julius Caesar, a key figure in the transition from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire, was assassinated on March 15, 44 BC, by a group of Roman senators. The assassination was the result of a conspiracy among the senators who feared that Caesar's power was undermining the Republic. The event is steeped in historical intrigue and has led to numerous interpretations and conspiracy theories about the motivations and repercussions of the assassination, influencing political thought for centuries. 3. The death of Robert F. Kennedy 1968. Robert F. Kennedy was assassinated on June 5, 1968, shortly after delivering a victory speech upon winning the California primary for the Democratic presidential nomination. Sirhan Sirhan was arrested and charged with the murder, but many questions surrounding the event persist. Allegations of conspiracy and the involvement of other parties, including claims about RFK's security detail, have led to ongoing debates and investigations into the circumstances of his death. Paralleling the uncertainty surrounding the assassinations of JFK and MLK. The impending release of final secret files concerning the assassinations of John F. Kennedy, JFK, Martin Luther King Jr., MLK, and Robert F. Kennedy, RFK, is poised to reshape public discourse around these historical events. As we approach the release date anticipated for early 2025, various predictions can be made about the implications of these documents, the potential revelations they may contain, and the ongoing public fascination with conspiracy theories. Expectations for the released files. 1. Additional context but no definitive answers. Experts, including historians and analysts who have reviewed previously released documents, suggest that while the new files may offer additional context surrounding the assassinations, they are unlikely to provide the smoking gun evidence that many conspiracy theorists and the general public hope for. The files could serve as puzzle pieces that enrich our understanding but may not definitively clarify the conspiracies that have lingered for decades. 2. Public sentiment and reactions. The release is expected to reignite public interest and debate over the circumstances of these assassinations. Given that polls indicate a substantial portion of the American public has long believed in conspiracies surrounding JFK's death, historically over 50%, the release of files may deepen skepticism about official narratives, especially if the documents hint at government oversight or failures. 3. Impact on conspiracy theories. The release of these files is likely to have a complex impact on existing conspiracy theories. While some theorists may find confirmation of their beliefs within the documents, others may dismiss anything that does not align with their narratives as either incomplete or manipulated. The deep-rooted distrust in government institutions suggests that even substantial revelations might not quell conspiracy theorists. Predictions on content and implications. 1. Potential revelations about government involvement. Some expect that the files may reveal details about the extent of governmental surveillance and actions concerning these figures. There are indications that the CIA had monitored Lee Harvey Oswald, JFK's assassin, prior to the assassination, which could suggest negligence or complicity. Furthermore, documents could shed light on the FBI's controversial surveillance tactics against MLK, potentially revealing deeper layers of governmental misconduct. 2. Family reactions and legal implications. The families of the victims, particularly MLK's family, have expressed a desire to review the documents prior to public release. Their reactions may influence how the public perceives the content of the files, especially if the documents reveal new insights into the motivations and actions surrounding the assassinations. Legal challenges or calls for further investigations could arise if families feel that the released information warrants additional scrutiny or accountability. 3. Historical reassessment. Historians and political analysts may reassess the political climate of the 1960s in light of new information. The assassinations of these three figures not only shocked the nation but also marked significant turning points in American society. New revelations could illuminate the connections between these events and the broader social movements of the time, including civil rights and counterculture movements. A broader cultural impact. 1. Media and popular culture. The release of these documents is likely to lead to renewed interest in media portrayals of these historical figures and events. Documentaries, books, and films may emerge, drawing from the new information to explore the complexities of the 1960s and the enduring legacy of these assassinations. This could influence public perceptions and understanding of American history. 2. Political discourse and polarization. As with many historical events, the implications of the released files may intersect with contemporary political issues. Discussions around governmental transparency, accountability, and civil rights might become more pronounced, particularly in a polarized political climate. This could lead to new movements advocating for greater oversight of intelligence agencies and law enforcement. 3. Long-term legacy of conspiracy theories. Ultimately, the release of these files may not diminish the allure of conspiracy theories but rather transform them. The search for truth in the wake of these revelations could lead to new theories or reinterpretations of past events, reflecting society's ongoing struggle to reconcile historical narratives with personal beliefs and emotions. Conclusion. As the release date for the final secret files approaches, the anticipation surrounding their content speaks to a broader quest for truth and accountability in American history. While the documents may provide new insights, the complex interplay of public sentiment, conspiracy theories, and historical interpretation will continue to shape the narrative surrounding these significant events in the years to come. The files are not merely historical artifacts, they are part of an ongoing dialogue about trust, governance, and the quest for justice in the face of unanswered questions.